Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and we have another new breakdown for you today. It's going to be on Mac Jones, the quarterback from Alabama. I'm really surprised I've even taken this long to do a breakdown on Mac Jones just because I know Alabama has such a huge following and so many people are interested in how they're doing, and Mac Jones has been doing great here for a good amount of time. But we'll go ahead and hop into the breakdown here. As always, if you like the information, go ahead and click the thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, go ahead and leave that down below. We'll be happy to get to it when we can, and we'll hop in the video right now. Okay, so like always, the first thing that I like to do when doing these breakdowns is just seeing how long it takes for him to get the ball out of his hands. He goes through that initial load at 4.06, okay, and then he goes from there till loads until about 4.16. So there's a 0.1 loading time. That's pretty quick. I say usually you want to be under 0.2 in terms of the load, and then gets the ball out of his hands at about 4.36, so he's at about a 0.3 in terms of the ability to get the ball out of his hands. So it takes him about 0.2 seconds to get the ball to come all the way forward and through. Really great number there. Anything under 0.4 is really what you want to aim for. And I do want to recommend anybody that's watching this video, quarterback that's looking to get better, looking to escalate their game, make sure you're getting film of where you're at from a release perspective. I'd say at least 90% of you guys out there can make a big improvement in your release time. You just take too much time in the load. And the overall science of it is that if you take too much time loading, similar to jumping, similar to sprinting, similar to anything where you have to create power, you have to create strength, then you're going to, just by doing that, limit your ability to generate a large amount of force and be able to not be able to create as much distance in your throw, power in your throw. So make sure that your release is in a good time, and make sure that you're actually following that information or utilizing that information to help you in improving as a quarterback. So if you take this and you watch this video and then you don't actually film yourself to figure out where your release is, or you're just going based off of some type of subjective number instead of making it objective like how we are right now, you're not going to end up really seeing any big difference and big improvement. And that's the point of watching these videos. So now we're going to look at the deep ball here. And this is really where Mac Jones has had a ton of success as he just throws in. And I think partially has to do with the receivers that he has. I mean, he's had some great receivers there for a couple years now. Like last year and the start of this year. And so, that obviously helps out, but he also does a great job putting the ball right on the money. You can see as he loads, he really loads into that back leg really well. And I see this a lot, like Cam Newton, somebody that immediately comes to mind, where, and even in myself too, we're just not loading into the back leg as well when it comes to the deep ball. We are getting in a hurry to really push the weight going forward. And, when that happens, now you end up just having a lot more of your weight too far forward. You didn't get very much overall force into that back leg, which then makes it so you're not able to, throw the ball as consistently far. So here you can see he does a good job loading that back leg, pushes, gets rotation through, the lower body, and from there, and he could probably do a better job. Aaron Rodgers is somebody that does a great job pulling back with that front arm. He doesn't really pull much with that front arm, but he keeps a great stabilization within that spine. You'll see a lot of guys that will really lean over to the side a good amount as they're actually going through the deep ball, falling over to the side here, where he does a great job of being very straight, very upright as he's coming through, does a great job of getting his hips to be able to lead the movement, and then continues rotation through the spine as he finishes, and has a lot of, like I said, a lot of great success with the deep ball because of some of the technique that he utilizes in order to make that happen. Now this is a cool one too, just because it's from the top view, so we can see how he's loading here. Notice that when he's loading, he's not doing too much of a movement this way or a movement that way, right? He's doing a good job of just bringing the ball straight back, right? He gets a little bit that way, but for the most part, he gets the ball straight back. He gets to the nose of the football to be facing straight back. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a deeper throw, so his top shoulder is a little bit higher than his bottom shoulder or back shoulder. And then from there, notice what he does with his hands, right? And you can even see a little bit of like where his grip's at, where he has, it looks like 2 fingers there above the laces. And so now as he's coming through, notice as soon as he starts to lift the ball right there, he's already starting to rotate the ball as well. So now once he gets to this position, he has the nose of the football, not facing directly up, but basically straight up. And as he's coming through, now he already has the nose of the football basically facing straight, right? So if we were just going to turn the wrist and make it facing straight ahead, he would already be in that position. So now why that's so important, so why that's such a huge advantage is that it gives him the ability to really create a lot of force through the wrist. So now from right here, he's like this, he has the nose of the football facing forward. So now as he's coming through, he can put a lot more force in the wrist, as he's snapping the ball through in comparison to somebody that doesn't do that, who has the ball maybe facing more off to the side at that moment, or, doesn't have the elbow in the right position, right? If your elbow's too far back behind or your the ball is too far back over here, now that ends up making it so you don't get as much wrist flick activation. You end up having to, create a lot more force in coming around, and that's where you get more of like those sidearm type releases, or the balls that come more off of your ring finger rather than your index finger as you're coming off, where you can see he does a great job getting the ball coming right off the index finger, getting a nice flick to make it so he has a great throw there. This one's really a great throw because it just shows another side of being a quarterback, where it's like, you have a free, this is I want to say this was third down. It might have even been fourth down. This was a big play. And they just ran man coverage, right? Man one-on-one. They could have even hit this guy, but everybody has a man, and they really have too many guys for blitzing that they can end up blocking. And this guy has a clear shot right towards him here. And he steps into it. Look at him. He still pushes off that back leg, focuses on what he's doing with the throw, puts the ball right on the money, and just takes an absolute shot while he does it, and then they end up scoring a touchdown there, which is just another side of what makes Mac Jones a great quarterback, and what you need to be able to do in order to, be at that Mac Jones type of level. You got to be able to step into hits. You can't be afraid of taking shots from linebackers, from defensive linemen, or else that starts to really impact your psyche and your ability to consistently be accurate as a quarterback. Here's a great view of just him being able to really, again, push off that back leg. You can see how he lands, right? He lands with a little bit more balls with his foot there. He doesn't get his heel all the way into the ground until, he starts transferring that weight forward, which I don't mind, just because, you want to end up with that heel in the ground. And as long as you're not landing with your heel first, I see some guys that will land primarily with the heel, but you really want to be landing balls of the feet, and then as he shifts that weight forward, he really drives that heel down into the ground to make it so he has a very stable post as he's coming all the way through, and he just does a great job of generating rotation all the way through that front hip. Make sure you have great front hip range of motion and the ability to twist through the spine. As quarterbacks, it's not as important to be able to bench a ton of weight, be able to squat a ton of weight, be able to do some of those strength-based lifts. It's much more important to be able to have great flexibility, great range of motion in the hips, great range of motion in the spine. And again, this is something that I see a lot. Great range of motion in the shoulder, especially, where we see quarterbacks that don't have great range of motion in those joints. And that's really what's holding them back from a overall throwing perspective and throwing power perspective, in opposed to lacking the strength within the bench or within a squat or something like that. I don't see that as often as I do just lacking that range of motion to be able to succeed as a quarterback. All right, as always, guys, thanks for watching the videos here. If you have any questions, you can leave those down below. We have a lot of different great things available down below. I'm working on a quarterback program that will give you more in-depth analysis about and information for how you could be a great quarterback. I'm building that out. I should be dropping that here tonight, so make sure you stay tuned for that, as I'll have videos and things like that to be able to show you how to sign up. But we have the 7-day program. We have the throw program, 3 months. We have an individual breakdown. I think that overall, of all the things that we have available, the individual breakdown is where you can get the most value, just because it's $97. You get access to our throw program for 4 weeks. You get nutrition. You just get so much information within just that I think that would be hugely beneficial for you. Or you could also check out our individual one-on-one session through Zoom, $75 for that. Another great option for you if you're looking to get one-on work with me to be able to help you out with your throwing mechanics in a very, very quick way. We are usually able to get a lot of big improvement within one session, within 1 week, just because of how I have my process in improving your mechanics. All right, as always, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.